is a quiet realization that comes with time. Not the kind you chase, not the kind you read about, but the kind that arrives when life has asked enough of you. I used to think I needed to go back, fix something, understand something, relive something differently. But lately, I don't travel back anymore. Not even for a moment. Instead, I wake up and I try to live this day as if I have consciously returned to it. Not because it's perfect, but because it's mine. And there's something strangely peaceful about that. As you grow older, you start spending more time with yourself, not always by choice, sometimes by circumstances. It's interesting being alone isn't one thing. Some days it feels like freedom, like space, like breathe, like still water. At this stage in life, we don't panic the way we used to, but we do notice. We notice the silence, we notice the absence, we notice the subtle ache of incompleteness. And almost instinctively, we begin to look for something to fill it. Another goal, another improvement, another version of ourselves to become. But here's something. What if nothing is missing? What if this quiet, this slightly unfinished feeling is not a problem to solve, but a space to sit inside? There is always going to be something just out of reach. Not because we are failing, but because that's the nature of being alive. There is no final version of you that suddenly feels complete forever. There is no moment where everything settles and stays that way. And maybe that's not a flaw in life, maybe that's the rhythm of it. I thought if I would capture it, I would lose it. Or maybe I wouldn't. But over time, I have realized not everything needs to be turned into something. Some thoughts are just meant to pass through. Some emotions are just meant to be felt and left alone. And some moments are complete exactly as they are, without needing to be recorded, improved, or understood. There's a different kind of maturity in that, not in creating more, but in allowing more. At some point, you also stop trying to protect or prove things, not just to others, but to your past self. You realize you don't owe your past self a performance. You don't have to become everything you once imagined, just to justify where you are now. There's a quiet freedom in that, in creating on your own terms, in living on your own terms, even if it doesn't always make sense to anyone else. We live in a world full of noise, opinions, advice, comparisons, subtle pressures that shape how we think we should feel. And sometimes, if you listen too closely, you start questioning your own path. You start asking, what's the point? Is this enough? Am I behind? But the clarity doesn't come from more noise. It comes from stepping back, from sitting with yourself long enough that your own voice becomes recognizable again. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that life needs to be figured out before it can be fully lived, that we need clarity before experience, that we need direction before movement. But life doesn't really work like that. You don't arrive first, you then begin living. You live, and clarity quietly forms along the way. So now I'm trying something different. I'm not looking for one fixed purpose anymore. I'm not waiting for everything to make perfect sense. Instead, I am learning to move through the uncertainty, to navigate it, rather than resolve it. And in doing so, I've started to notice something. When you stop chasing a direction, you begin to create one. Not through force, but through attention. Through what you choose to notice, what you choose to care about, what you choose to return to again and again. When do I need to achieve today? I ask something simpler. What would it feel like to be truly here for this day? Not to control everything, not to perfect everything, just to experience it as it unfolds. Because maybe this is it. Not some future version of your life, not some improved version of your life or yourself. This conversation, this breath, this quiet moment of awareness, ordinary but not insignificant. And when you begin to see it that way, life doesn't necessarily become easier, but it becomes softer, more spacious, more forgiving, more real. If something still feels missing sometimes, let it. Don't rush to fill it. Sit with it. Listen to it. Because within that space, there's often something deeper than answers. There's presence. And maybe that's what we were searching for all along. Not a perfect life, not a complete self, just the ability to be fully here, unfinished, uncertain, and still at peace. And strangely enough, when you allow yourself to be immersed in the experience, not distracted, not resisting, not trying to extract meaning from every second, everything begins to feel enough. Not because it's extraordinary, but because you're finally there to live it. Blinded, not by confusion, but by presence. And for once, that is more than enough.